Pranayama and breathwork are not the same, and yet many people confuse them. In this video, I aim to clear that up. Hi, I'm Dr. Dawn Browning, somatic scientist and pranayama teacher in the Gitananda yoga tradition. I help high-achieving women and seekers manage their energy, their focus, and their mood using traditional yogic wisdom and modern tools backed by science. Let's start by defining what pranayama is, because it's often misunderstood and mistranslated. You may have heard pranayama defined as breath control, but that's actually a somewhat limited definition, and it's not a culturally enriched translation of Sanskrita. Let's start with the first part of that word, prana. Prana is not just the breath. Prana is the cosmic catalyst. It is the force that animates life. It is what defines life from the yogic tradition. It enters with our first inhale and it departs on our last exhale. The breath is the vehicle for prana. The breath does not equal prana. The second part of the word is ayama, and this word means expansion, extension, or regulation. So this is often mistranslated as control. So if we look at it this way, pranayama is the expansion of the force that animates life. It's the expansion of prana. And my teacher, Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani, has described pranayama as the act of enhancing your awareness of prana that is everywhere all the time. So it's a much more nuanced understanding of our relationship to prana. This simple shift in our understanding of what pranayama is changes everything. It's not controlling the breath that moves in and out of the body. It's actually enhancing your awareness of the energy that is flowing and present all of the time. So I'm curious, does this definition or awareness of pranayama surprise you? Is it different than what you've heard before? I would love to know, so please comment to share. Before I get into defining breathwork and contrasting it with pranayama, I want to share the source of these teachings and the parampara, or the unbroken lineage of knowledge and wisdom of pranayama from which they come. The teachings that I'm sharing come from the Rishi culture Ashtanga yoga tradition, which has become known today's nomenclature as Gitananda yoga. The tradition was carried into modern times by Yoga Maharishi Dr. Swami Gitananda Giri. He's often called the father of scientific yoga because he bridged his medical background as a medical doctor, as a cardiac surgeon, with the understanding of classical yoga that he studied with his guru and teacher. The result in Gitananda yoga is a powerful system that bridges science and tradition without losing the depth of either. Here's something that most people don't realize, is that in the Gitananda yoga tradition, pranayama is vast. There are more than 120 pranayamas that are organized into 3 groups. That is far beyond the 8 classical pranayamas that are featured in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. And this is also far more than you might think of when you hear or use the term breathwork. I'm happy to share more about the groups of pranayama practices within the Gitananda tradition in another video if you'd like to leave a comment below to let me know that you're interested. But the key point is this: pranayama is not 1 or 2 or even 8 techniques. It is a complete system for cultivating energy, refining your awareness, and building resilience, layer by layer, step by step, over time. So what is breathwork? Breathwork, on the other hand, is a more modern practice. It emerged in the 1960s and 1970s with the human potential movement. Teachers like Leonard Orr, who developed rebirthing, and Stanislav Grof, who developed heliotropic breathwork, they introduced these conscious breathing methods designed to access non-ordinary states of consciousness. So breathwork is often done lying down in a group, eyes closed, with music and facilitation. And so the breath is circular without pauses, and the aim with breathwork as a body of work is emotional release, catharsis, or integration. This is how breathwork is different. Pranayama can be taught in classes. It's often done with a guru shela, a teacher and student relationship. It can be taught one-on-one. It can be done in groups, but it is meant to be a personal practice that you cultivate under the guidance of a teacher who has embodied the teachings and the practices and can guide you on your journey. While pranayama is structured, it's focused on subtle energy and deeply connected to energy awareness. Breathwork is more visceral, and it's less about control and more about release and surrender. So another really important aspect when we're considering pranayama or breathwork is how they affect the body. And so this is where the nervous system comes in. And just to recap, your autonomic nervous system has two branches. You have the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight, flight, or freeze response. The parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest branch of the ANS or autonomic nervous system. Day to day in our modern life, we tend to be in a chronic state of sympathetic nervous system activation. We are always stressed. It is not just activation when there's an immediate danger. We are almost always activated. And so understanding how these practices affect our nervous system and the state that you're in any given point in time is critically important. And I've linked a video here that can help you understand which practices are best for you. It guides how to settle in and identify your energetic state. Back to the nervous system. Pranayama is practiced gently, generally, and consistently. It is a consistent practice. We do it with rhythm and regularity and intention. And it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest nervous system. I will add that one of the three groups of pranayamas in the Gitananda Yoga tradition is the Shakti pranayamas. And those can be activating and can lead to sympathetic, energetic dominance. But generally speaking, the majority of the pranayama practices within the Gitananda tradition, and certainly most of the 8 classical pranayamas, are directed at parasympathetic nervous system activation. The PNS, or the parasympathetic nervous system, when we activate it, this refines our vagal tone. It helps us build resilience. It helps us to rest and restore. You cannot heal when you're stressed. You can only heal when you're resting. Keep this in mind. So this is the parasympathetic nervous system when we want to be steady, create the steadiness in our energy, builds resilience both in our emotions and elsewhere in the body, and it is designed to prepare the mind for meditation and conscious choice. Breathwork often initiates a sympathetic activation. This sympathetic nervous system is activated most often during breathwork. This means that your body revs up. This increases your heart rate. Your emotions can surface. You can sometimes experience tremors. And so you get a big parasympathetic dump after that sympathetic hike. I know I'm using a lot of nervous system terminology here, but maybe the main point is that if we consider broadly speaking, pranayama can help soothe the body, and breathwork tends to elevate the sympathetic nervous system. Both can be powerful, but the impact on the nervous system is almost the opposite. And it's really important to understand what it is that you need. And I guess this is a really good point to say, I am not dissing breathwork or breathwork facilitators. I am simply trying to give you information so that you could understand the differences between these two breath practices. I'd like to share a personal reflection here, which is a really big turning point in my life. So as someone who has lived with type 1 diabetes for 37 years and no long-term complications, I've had to become an expert in energy and blood glucose management. And I'm sharing this here because the stress and sympathetic nervous system overload has so many compounding negative effects on our mind and our body. So even if you don't live with diabetes, this is really important to understand. It was a guided pranayama practice with my teacher, Joseph LePage, that really shifted everything for me. He helped me break the stress cycle that I happened to be in with regard to my diabetes at the time. And I was definitely in a state of emergency. And so it was the soothing pranayama practice that was guided by a yoga therapist that really shifted everything for me and allowed me to avoid any catastrophic or negative effects. That experience really inspired me to go on to become a certified yoga therapist. And it has also motivated my intense study of pranayama in the Gitananda yoga tradition over the last 3 years. Pranayama is a part of my everyday life and how I am able to live my life well with a chronic disease and no long-term complications. It definitely contributes to that success. So, breathwork, pranayama, which one is best for you? I'm going to offer you 3 questions to ask yourself to guide your choice, okay? Do you need structure, stability, and steady energy? If the answer is yes, then that would point you to pranayama. Do you need an emotional release? Are you looking for catharsis? I would say that points to breathwork. Do you want a daily nervous system practice that you can do to anchor your nervous system, to ground yourself? That is pranayama. Our needs change day to day. Listening to your body, to your mind, and settling in and asking yourself what you truly need is the key here. And then knowing what you need and being able to find the practices that are best suited for that need and teachers that you can trust and guide given your choice of practice are probably the most important things to take away from this video. I want to share something that one of my clients have said about working with me. I left Dawn's pranayama session feeling both energized and relaxed, rested and rejuvenated. That's the gift of building awareness and relationship with yourself through prana, through pranayama. So, pranayama is not breath control, are not breathing exercises. So please just wipe those from your vocabulary. Pranayama is far more than breathing techniques. It is an art, it is a science that offers a way to connect to yourself and to the world around you with steadiness and clarity and ease. That's the difference between doing a breath exercise and living with awareness of prana. Pranayama works on all levels of our being. Does it help us build our breath capacity and respiratory health? Yes, it does. But it also helps us build emotional resilience. It enhances mental clarity. It boosts our vagal tone and our energetic steadiness. And it connects us to ourselves, and it also connects us to a greater good in all that is. I asked my teacher, Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani, what is one message that you would like to leave the reader with? He shared this, and I quote, "The most important dilution that has occurred is that people have reduced pranayama to a breathing exercise. From the yogic perspective, the whole focus on prana is lost when prana becomes merely a breathing technique." End quote. I could not have said that better myself. Thank you, Dr. Ananda. If you practice breathwork and it's left you feeling wired and anxious instead of calm, I invite you to watch the video that I have on the screen now to learn why and what to do instead. What is your biggest question about pranayama that you would like me to answer in another video? Comment below and leave that for me. And if you'd like a short guided practice led by me and that you can return to anytime, you can download it to your phone. You don't even need to have an internet connection. I've created a free 4-minute regulation ritual. It's a guided breath practice. It is Sukha Pranayama, and you'll find the link in the video description, and I hope you enjoy it. You can start building your own rhythm and pranayama practice today.